Hey guys, on today's video, we're going to talk about the 5 things that I did not know before buying my 2007 FJ Cruiser 6-speed with 315,000 miles. And maybe we'll talk about a few other things. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Mike the Baldadonis, and I buy and sell cars as a hobby, and I bring you guys along with me showing the pros and cons of each vehicle I buy. Now, I am not an expert on all cars. I'm a car enthusiast. I love all cars. Some things, or some vehicles I should say, I know a lot more of than others. So, I have to do my research just like you guys. Now, I buy a lot of Toyotas, Lexus cars, and there's really not much to say because they're pretty much bulletproof if you take care of them. The FJ Cruiser I never owned, and when I saw original owner selling his 2007 6-speed with 316,000 miles, I had to take a look at it. I've been craving a high-mile Lexus or a Toyota because the reliability. If you take care of them, these things will last you for a lifetime, seriously. I do live in the New England area, just 30 miles north of Boston, so we do have a problem with rust. That's with almost any car, but Toyotas seem to have them a little bit worse than other vehicles. So when I went to go look at the car, I checked it out and I was like, and the doors on the driver's door especially had some bubbling popping out, and I was like, oh man. In the ad it said it was in mint condition or excellent condition. So when I saw that, I was like, I kind of lost my hopes for buying the vehicle. But being an original owner, his name is Ken, he took care of it and he drove it 450 miles a week for work. So I have a huge stack of paperwork from day one when he bought it from the dealership. Every oil change, everything that can be done, that needed to be done, including the frame, he took care of. Now, when I saw the ad, this was recently done. The brakes, the clutch, the original clutch made it to just at 300,000 miles. And the only thing that happened to it was the springs in the clutch itself, not the pad, that wore out. Can you believe that? 300,000 miles on original clutch. What else did he do? Original battery lasted 15 years. He put a new battery in this year. Both front axles were replaced, along with the oil pan, that was done. VVT solenoids, that was done. Windshield last year was replaced. These do have a little bit more of an issue because they're more flat, so they're more susceptible. Is that the word I'm looking for? I might be a little off on that, but more damage prone because it's a flat surface. What else? Again, him going through the car, doing everything. The only thing I had to do was put a fresh set of tires on there. I did have to put a gas cap because it did come up with a check engine light. Ever since then, I haven't had a problem, but it did read for a code for NOx sensors. When I did the research for NOx sensors on these vehicles, Toyota calls for a 20-hour job when it should be around 2 hours. So what is going on? There is a little tab on the coolant intake, a coolant tube that runs underneath the intake manifold, has a little tab on it, and Toyota wants you to take the cylinder head off and all that bullshit. There's no need for that. There's a little tab, you cut the tab, take the cooling tube out, put the NOx sensors back in, put the tube back in, put the intake back on, and you're good to go. It should be a 2-hour job. So at first, I was a little pissed off, and if you watched the original video that I made a couple of weeks ago, I kind of, was a little upset, and I haven't talked to him since. But since then, I haven't had a problem with the vehicle, and I really enjoy driving it. Now, there's, like I said, we're gonna talk about the 5 things and maybe a few other things about what to look out for. Not what to look out for, but what I didn't know, and whatever I found is gonna be helpful for somebody else that's looking for an FJ Cruiser. So before we do that, I did change the oil, so we're gonna take it to my friend Dave at European Auto Solutions in Hudson, New Hampshire. So let's check it out. Oh. The 5 things that I did not know before purchasing this vehicle. I'm gonna leave a link in the description to a video from an FJ enthusiast, and he talks about all the FJs. He talks about everything, the special editions, the paint, you name it, he brings it down or breaks it down into one good video. So I got a lot of information from him. The link will be in the description so you can watch his video. All right, so one of the things I did not know was the rear end. Mine is an 8-inch rear end from 07 to 08. 8-inch rear ends is a little bit weaker, and sometimes the teeth on the rear end gears can break. So they went up to an 8.2 inch and there's no problems from what I'm seeing. Second thing is when you open up the hood, the inner fender wells tend to crack. Now I'm not sure if it's from 4x4ing because mine are mint. So you can see, they call it the fender bulge. It's the inner fender wells. They tear up, they rip apart. You can have them fixed, but Toyota actually solved that issue in 2010. All right, so on cold days, I live in New England, like I said, so past few weeks, as soon as I put the clutch in, it would hang up a little bit until the motor started warming up, the transmission warmed up, and then the clutch pedal warmed up as well. So at first I was like, do I need a new slave cylinder or something? And because it took its time coming back up from pressing in the pedal. So that is a known issue. That is number 3. Number 4, I did not know the rear window popped open. Now, as you can see, I have a ladder. So I was curious when I first saw that in the middle of the night. I think it was 1 o'clock in the morning after watching these videos. I'm like, yep, the rear window opens up, and you would never know that because I have a ladder that's blocking it. So that's something that I learned as well. 6-speed manual, full-time 4-wheel drive. Now I went looking at another 2007 FJ Cruiser with the automatic just this week. The frame was a little bit from crusty to rusty. I mean, it was toasty. So also the wheels were terrible. Original owner, this is the picture, this is the vehicle that I seen. It had 196,000 miles. It ran beautiful. I took it for a drive. Being an automatic, I actually enjoyed driving that versus the 6-speed only because, you know, you don't have to keep playing with the clutch. You're not sitting in traffic. But the 6-speed is very much a fun vehicle to drive, absolutely. But because I travel a lot, the automatic would be nice. The thing I found out though, the automatic does go into 2-wheel drive until you need the 4-wheel drive. So that's something I did not know. What else? Oh, I had a gentleman look at my car yesterday. He is a Toyota fanatic, and to find out, I have backup sensors in the rear bumper, and one of the sensors, maybe 2 of them, they're burnt out. So I will do that repair and make a video for that. Okay, so the early model 4.0s had a single variable valve timing engine, 239 horsepower. They stepped it up to do variable valve timing, and it's still a 4.0. They just improved it. So it went up an extra 19 horsepower. Torque is the same. Also, you'll notice the difference between where the oil filter is. It's on top of the motor. It is now underneath the motor. So another thing, this key fob to open up the doors. They are now in the key itself. So this was separate, now it's in the key itself. So that's something I did not know. Backup camera. The newer models came out with a backup camera in the rear view mirror. It's all about 2 inches big. And the rear view camera is actually in the middle or somewhere in the rear tire, the spare tire. So if you see the spare tire, you see a little hole, camera hole, that's it. So that was an option, I suppose. And from what I hear, it didn't work well at all. It's just a little image in your mirror. How much can you actually see? So the reason why I made this video is because I did rush the other video talking about the pros and cons. In that video, I talked about the 2 major things, and it was rust and that it sucked down gas. That was like the real main thing about owning a Toyota FJ Cruiser. So I thought, then I got a message on my video saying, you have so much to learn. But yet he didn't tell me anything else. He just left it like that. So I was like, all right, game on. Let me learn a little bit more. And so far, so now I made this video talking about what I learned. So I want to thank that gentleman for egging me on. I did some more homework. Now I can share it to you. And when you go watch the other person's video, you'll be more educated on buying an FJ Cruiser. The steering wheel. If you have a steering wheel that has the silver horn covers and you start seeing them wearing out a little bit, well, I took some hand sanitizer and at first I thought it was dirty, but it ended up being they were worn out. So what I did was I cleaned them up and I scrubbed them. I put some elbow grease and they came out pretty good. It went from silver, got all of it off, all that old paint, to black. And I think it makes it look so much better. I was going to buy aftermarket little caps like carbon fiber ones, but for $50, why bother? I just cleaned it all up. Now it looks pretty good. Guys, before I end this video, for those that watch me on a regular basis for my cars, and you're like, Mike, I haven't seen you buy any cars lately. Well, it's not like I'm not working on it. Here is a list of what I tried to buy, only that I couldn't make the deal. So 2013 Mercedes E350 4MATIC with the AMG package. I lost that deal for $700. Honda Ridgeline, too much rust. Acura RSX 6-speed. It was an older gentleman. It had 220,000 miles on it. I haven't had a Honda or Acura on my videos since I started 5 years ago. And I really liked that vehicle. I lost that for $500. 07 Civic SI 2-door. When looking at the vehicle, he said it was mint. I don't know what people's interpretation of mint means. That usually means showroom condition, pretty much. But when I get there, the bumpers are all scratched up. Rust is coming out of the paint. And, you know, that was, and the wheels were in need of refurbishment. I don't get it. But the reason why I really didn't buy it is because he didn't have any paperwork claiming that he replaced the clutch 2 years ago. He didn't have any paperwork. So for me to resell something, I like to have at least whatever was fixed, proved, so I can send that to the next person. 09 Mercedes. That was an E350 4MATIC with an AMG package. It was a nice looking car. When I got there, I let it run for a little bit, and the engine was running so rough that the steering wheel was shaking. I put my foot on the brake, and the brake just slowly went to the floor. So I just looked at it and walked away. 07 Toyota FJ Cruiser, like I just said in the video. A little too crusty underneath. I would have bought it. I did make him an offer. We were $1,000 off because it needed some decent work. But you know, I would have enjoyed driving the automatic. It drove really well. It's just a little too much work for the price he was asking. So $1,000, we were off on that. 2008 BMW 335xi Sport Package 6-speed. I reached out to this person just yesterday, asked him to call me back. He hasn't returned my calls. I asked him if the turbos were replaced because it has 160,000 miles. BMWs is one vehicle I know very well, and Dave being my mechanic, he specializes in BMWs. So I know the turbos do go around that time frame, 150, 160,000 miles. So he hasn't called me back. So it's not like I'm not trying, guys. Again, I have to buy my vehicles at a certain price so I can fix them and hopefully make a few bucks on my end. Because I do register my cars, I do drive them, I make my videos, and I try to have fun. All right, guys, until the next video, Baldadonis out.